Welcome to the Aegance Offscript podcast, where we talk to industry leaders who share their stories, insights, and lessons, unfiltered and unscripted. I'm your host, Lawrence, and today I'm joined by Luca Boriani, the CMO and co-founder at Zipchat. Now, Zipchat is building AI-led sales and support across channels like website chat, WhatsApp, and email. And that's timely because the market is moving quickly towards more AI and agent-driven commerce experiences. Zipchat sits right at the point where e-commerce gets decided. When a customer has a question, hits friction, or needs a nudge, and brands either win the sale or quietly lose it. Luca, welcome. Let's dive straight in.
Hi, Lawrence. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Great to have you here. Really looking forward to the conversation. I wonder if you could just provide us with a little bit more context beyond how I've positioned Zipchat, what it is that you guys are doing, how long have you been in operations for, where are your areas of operations, etc.
Absolutely. So we started the company a little more than 2 years ago. From all people already highly involved in the e-commerce industry. Me and my one of my co-founders, we've been working together for the past 8 years, building like SaaS for e-commerce. Our other co-founder scaled a super successful checkout alternative to the Shopify checkout. Then it got shut down from Shopify itself, that they proud themselves to have the best checkout. So of course they couldn't afford to have infighting against them, but it was super successful at the time. So he knows exactly what merchants need and how to help them scale. So when we started Zipchat, we realized one of the missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to e-commerce is all the conversational aspect of it. If you think about it, before, and for before I mean like 20, 30, 40 years ago, my parents were going to the local shop. The owner was there working. He knew their names. He knew what they were buying. Arriving to the shop meant being say hi, greeted like, "Hi Luca, how are you doing today? How was your weekend? And do you want the usual milk or the usual fruit you're buying every week?" There was this kind of personal level. With e-commerce in general, yeah, there was some kind of personalization when it came to using variables like hi, name, how are you, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, and especially after years of this practice, everybody understood this is just automated variables put inside some marketing automation software. So we wanted to reconnect people to brands and brands to people in the old-fashioned way, and that's why we started to work and to focus our energies towards conversational commerce. At the beginning, of course, it was just reactive, so people were opening the chat, writing something, and the AI would respond. I cannot really say like as a human would do, because at the time was just an early product, until where we are now, where we are fully agentic. So our conversational AI agent really behaves as an experienced sales assistant, support assistant, can be anything, and really knows the customer in front of him. So it can personalize the conversation to a level where it can recommend products that the customer really needs. It can recommend how to use the product. It can help them solve their issues when it comes to returns, exchanges, or whatever basically it's needed in a one-to-one relationship between a brand and the customer. And as you mentioned, we are multi-channel. So at the moment, we are active inside the website chat, inside the WhatsApp, inside emails. This last channel is very useful because most people don't run email sequences with the idea that people will reply, and when somebody replies, they actually panic. They don't really know how to handle this. But of course, if you have a big brand with hundreds of thousands of emails sent per month, there's gonna be still like people replying to these emails with their problems. Usually, the frustrated people with problems that they couldn't get an answer from the support, so they try this last hope reply to a marketing emails. And it's going to be a significant percentage, to be honest. But before were not handled, or were handled by the same support that was not really considering them before. But in this way, with AI, all these emails are completely taken care of. And also, the standard email support is taken care of within a few seconds instead of hours, which is quite amazing. And very soon we're gonna launch also on Instagram and Messenger, because lots of brands advertise on Meta, TikTok Shop, which is becoming a growing, demanded channel by our customers, and we're gonna add everything related to voice very soon as well.
Yeah, super interesting. And I think you're hitting the nail right on the head at the moment in terms of that personalization. We certainly went through a phase where, automation, it obviously saves a lot of time, but you start to lose that personal connection. So I think you're pivoting and you're focusing on the right areas. I'm quite keen to sort of focus on your particular role, which essentially is dual because you're both the CMO and the co-founder, and there is some friction there between day-to-day delivery versus the strategic direction of the business. What's the North Star that you personally use to make decisions when there's some conflict between growth strategies, product quality, and sort of simplicity or ease of use?
Yeah. So, when you're starting a company, I mean, we're not huge in terms of number of people. We have like approximately 22 people, something like that. Hiring every month, growing a little bit every month in terms of head count. But still we are relatively small. And this is very good because we managed to leverage ourselves much more than what we used to be in my previous company, where we were at peak, I think 40 plus people. Because of course, automations and AI and everything. Being a smaller teams, it means you have more responsibility and you also need, to take care of different roles. Even if there's lots of automations, still somebody needs to take care of these automations and think about AI and how everything syncs. Of course, as a founder, you always have to think about short term, mid term, and long term. You cannot only focus on something that can impact now but kill the company tomorrow, or you cannot, only focus on what's gonna happen like in 2 years without doing massive action today. So the way we do that, we have roles that are very specific when it comes to responsibilities me or my co-founder needs to take care of when it comes to daily actions. So we have short-term goals that usually are related to MRR growth and in my case conversion rates when it comes to sales, and product quality and retention when it comes to my third co-founder, which is the CTO and taking care of the product. And then as a whole, as co-founders, or whatever you want to call us, we take care of deciding where we want to go and how we need to nail the market. The problem here, compared to what I was doing in my previous startup, is that the market is changing so fast compared to before. So, like the chief growth officer at Lovable is mentioning now, product market fit, you need to achieve it every couple of months. It's not something you achieve and then you can see it. It's something you have to fight for literally every 30 to 90 days. And that's something we see literally every day. So the CMO role, let's say the marketer role I have, is taking care of day-to-day campaigns, day-to-day activities, day-to-day out-of-the-box strategies that can, deliver more leads, more trials. But at the same time, I see consistently that the market is changing and hence the results as well are changing. So there's not a clear, conversion rate for a funnel, because this funnel maybe last a few weeks or a couple of months, and then you have to change positioning, you have to change a little bit angle, you have to think about more features, and that's where the entrepreneur team has to think forward and understand what's the market direction, and then everything else will adapt.
Yeah, makes complete sense, and it certainly sounds like a very agile space that you're in, and an open mindset is required. I'm quite interested to understand. So, with that ever shifting market, and then you're sort of constantly looking to expand the product surface. I mean, you mentioned adding email now. What operational systems have you put in place or are must haves to ensure that quality remains stable?
So when it comes to the product, again, we are very separated when it comes to roles and responsibilities. So I know they change their systems literally every few weeks to keep the quality high. We do lots of split testing of models. We do lots of tests when it comes to understanding how a feature will impact the overall quality of the conversation. At the end of the day, we are in the conversational business, so it doesn't matter if you have, a fancy design of the chat. I mean, of course it matters, but it's not why somebody will either use or not us. But the quality of the conversation is that driver. So if the conversation is bad, the AI is hallucinating, is recommending something bad or whatever, is not at a human level or beyond, because that's where the market is right now, the merchants will churn, will find somebody that can deliver on that promise. So the team there is consistently splitting everything, running tests, challenging the status quo of our system. Sometimes, of course, this leads to a subset of replies and conversations that are actually worse, because when you're testing a lot, you have to break things. And when you break things, it means the quality is not high. So we need to handle this, of course, immediately, and to remove this experiment and run the next one in order to improve over the control. When it comes to marketing, what I try to do is to have some clear metrics I want to achieve, and some clear metrics that I know they are kind of the standard. So I try to challenge my standard metrics every time to achieve the ones I want to achieve, which sometimes are just unachievable, unfortunately. But until I'm in this zone between what's the standard and what's my goal, I know we're gonna grow. If I go below the standard, that's where I have to be worried about. But even though I have these metrics very clear, today marketplace is very fragmented when it comes to channels and how merchants find and discover and learn about your products, that you still have to build some kind of blind channels where you don't really know what's going on there, but you know that as a whole picture, they enhance all the other. So you don't want to leave those out, or stop investing there, even if you don't see the direct ROI, which is something crazy if you think about how all the startup and growth model was structured, or built, or taught in the past years, where you have to measure everything is trackable, blah blah blah. I think now it's a little bit different, so you need to be versatile there as well.
Super interesting. And in doing my research prior to this conversation, I saw that you referenced reliability moves like large language model, provider redundancy. And I'm quite keen to understand, in your view, what's the operational reality behind making customer-facing AI dependable?
Well, what you mean exactly? Sorry, I didn't get.
Yes, and I just want to lean into the idea of making customer-facing AI, and I suppose AI in general. How do you make it dependable and ensure that it doesn't sort of hallucinate? Like, what are the guardrails that you put in
Okay, makes
place?
sense. Yeah, so I guess there it's the hardest part. When a merchant trusts us, it means is putting us, as you say, in front of their customers, which can damage completely their potentially the brand. Luckily, it never happened, not even at the beginning. We've always been quite good at making sure the AI is not going outside its scope. That's actually something very funny, because when we go to conferences, usually we kind of know what other companies or competitors we have there. And we know from our clients that we are in the top 1% when it comes to AI replies quality. So we know that pretty much all the others have a quality that is either like kind of similar to ours or much lower. So we usually attack them when somebody comes and say, how do you compare to XYZ solution? So we open a website that, of course, we saved them. We found already, where that specific competitor is behaving very badly, and then we just say, okay, just ask a question and you will find out. And then they see immediately that in that case, in that specific scenario, the AI is not understanding the questions, or is recommending something which is completely off, or it's the worst that ever happened. That was very fun. Actually, the message displayed in the chat was something like, "Oh, you ran out of OpenAI credits. Please refill it." So you can imagine this is a very bad customer experience. And then when they try us, and one of the things we proud ourselves a lot is that we are very fast to deploy. So at the conference itself, we can literally create a working simulation for them in a few minutes, where they can ask a question their customer would ask about their product. So in order to not have the AI hallucinating, and unfortunately sometimes on certain products and brands it does, It's never like big or crazy hallucination. Can be like, a mismatch in pricing, or talking about somebody's asking about a promotion and it says it doesn't exist or something like that. This is usually how the team behind the merchant, I mean the merchant behind the brand, how they decided to sync their website inside our platform. It's usually because it's missing some information, and the AI itself is very precise. um, in what How we work is that you have basically a knowledge base. This knowledge base, of course, needs to be updated, needs to know exactly what's going on in the team, in your brand. And it happens sometimes, especially for bigger brands, that the people in charge of, let's say, run a marketing promotion or a specific campaign are not the same people handling or knowing how to manage the knowledge base. So they run something that is not really updated. So they come to us, oh, the AI is hallucinating. Is we have this promotion going on, and you didn't. The AI doesn't know anything and saying something completely different. And then we go deeper with the bug, and we find out it's just that the promotion was never updated inside the system. So they couldn't really handle this.
I'm interested to understand. So you mentioned the um, the risk of putting you at the cold front of customer facing experiences. Is that the main friction or the main pushback that you experience when you are chatting to
Prospect.
merchants about a prospect about what you can deliver, that fear of the poor customer experience?
So this was totally the problem, I would say, before. As soon as we got started, there were two kind of people. There were the people that were like, "Oh no, AI sucks. The only nobody will ever talk like I talk, or nobody will ever understand, our brand, the voice, or whatever." And that was the majority. And there was a slight subset of users that were like super eager to test AI, the innovators as usual. And they were testing us, and they didn't even want any way for customers to actually talk to a human, something we developed immediately because some, of course, were needed. And we are now investing a lot to make it much better, is the escalation process. So the ability for the AI, when it doesn't understand something, or is not able to answer, or there's not enough information, whatever is the case, or of course for some edge situation, the merchant, the brand, the team wants to handle like manually, to escalate to a human properly. Again, there's brands that they don't want this. They're like, no, we want to put the AI that must be automated. Let's just make the AI perfect. And other customers that want this, and want to handle different use cases like manually. So to come back to your questions, this was some kind of objection we found a lot, let's say in the first 15 to 18 months. In the past 5, 6 months, I would say nobody's really afraid of that. Everybody understood they need to join the AI revolution somehow. I mean, e-commerce is a high volume, low margin business. So they understand that if they don't innovate and they don't implement agentic processes, AI here or there, somebody that will at some point cut into their margins and just cut them off the market. So the direction is that one. Their problems are usually at the moment understanding how to implement it properly. They come from a world where on LinkedIn they see super complex N8 maps with lots of integration, so they feel like everything AI or everything that is automated by AI needs to be so complex. While our motto is fuck flows. We don't build flows inside the platform. You just prompt what you want and Zipchat will take care of it.
I'm interested to understand. I mean, you spoke about implementation, assuming you offer a robust onboarding for your customers, get them up to speed with what is expected of them. Is there a need for them to have a champion internally that's going to manage the product, or do you share that load 50-50? Like, how does that relationship work? I mean, you mentioned the knowledge base requiring updating regularly. Like, who owns that?
So we have, let's say, two kind of onboarding. There is the fully self-service. We are fighting every day to make the onboarding, the self-service onboarding, as easy, as simple, as fast as possible. This means that as soon as you add your website, it will already understand on which platform you are. So the platform kind of adapts in order for you to, deploy the chatbot or do the integration properly, whether it's Shopify or WordPress, whatever. The prompts also we analyze. It's something we implemented, I think 3 or 4 months ago, something like that. Where basically also the prompting will of how the AI should behave already adapts based on all the data we have from similar brands in similar industries. So the conversation will already run super smoothly. So let's say the 90% of the knowledge base and prompting is already done when you create the account. Then at that point, you have two kinds of brands. You have the smaller brands that usually they're totally fine with this. They don't need much more. They don't have complex use cases. They don't need, complex integration or whatever. So they're pretty much ready to go after, 10 minutes. I mean, depends how many pages they have on the website, but let's say they are like 500 to few thousands. In 10, 15 minutes, they're ready to go live and the AI will be already pretty good. Then, of course, they can check conversation and they can provide correction to each reply. This will help them improve the overall quality over time. And then you have the bigger clients, which usually have more sophisticated use cases. They have different procedures. They also have like a bigger team, so different roles, different responsibilities. In this case, usually they get assigned to a success manager who will, join a call with them, understand exactly their needs, what they want to achieve, and point them in the right direction. Usually they end up the call after 30, 45 minutes where everything is properly set up. Sometimes they need a couple of calls, but again, one of the things we're proud of ourselves of is that you can go live very, very fast. So it's very popular, let's say. It happens very often that a merchant starts a trial, within 24 hours is fully live, and after 7-day trial, because of the sales generated by the AI, you already, let's say, made enough to pay the subscription for the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, super powerful return on investment data. That, I mean, just leaning into that in particular. I mean, assuming that you guys are highlighting, the analytics around ROI and tracking that very clearly, is that powerful enough to draw attention, or what other channels are you currently relying on to attract new merchants and convert them into customers?
Yeah. So when it comes to the website chat and the conversation we run, we have pretty good metrics. Across all the board, we have over 17% conversion rate chat to sale. And we are not separating support conversation or pre-sale conversation. It's like out of all conversations, 17+% it's the average conversion rate, which of course can impact a lot depending on the size of the brand. For example, we have an enterprise client which is pretty big. It's a Chinese company selling to US. In this case, they make something like $50 million per year just from the chat on the website. They don't even use on email. They don't use on WhatsApp because US they don't use WhatsApp much, and emails they haven't implemented yet. Just because of this, they had $50 million in sales coming from the chat. Of course, the topic there is, would these sales happen regardless of the conversational chat point? Of course, this is a legit question you might ask yourself. The easy answer is some of them yes, some of them no, for sure. If somebody's talking to the chat before buying, it means he has doubts, and these doubts might lead to a cart on abandon. So, regardless of the kind of business, there's going to be some businesses that will benefit enormously by answering lots of pre-sale questions very fast, and some business that will benefit a little bit less. But this brand that made 50 million plus from us from the chat in the past year paid us not even $20,000 over the year. So you can see clearly the ROI. Even if instead of 50 million, the real sales that they would have missed would have been like only 10%, still that would have been like 1.5 million. If it was 1%, it would have been 150K. But I mean, that's not the case, but assuming the worst. When it comes to us, of course, acquiring clients is a mix of, let's say, promises, in the sense that some merchants, they don't care about the sales aspect. They only want to automate their support. Others, they want only sales. They don't care about support. Others want a mix. So we have to understand their needs and make some kind of different promise. Like, okay, we're going to help you there, and this is going to be the impact. And that's how we close clients, by adapting the conversation to their needs and what we can deliver there.
I'd imagine in order to understand their pain points and what exactly the outcomes are that they're after, you would need to be having some sort of initial engagement with them. In order to have that initial engagement, you'd need to pop up on their radar somewhere, whether that's through meta ads, cold email
Absolutely.
outreach.
We
What
have
channels
a
are yielding the best results for you at the moment?
So we don't have a single channel that drives the most. We have an orchestration of all of them. We are active pretty much everywhere. We have Meta ads running, Google ads running, YouTube ads running, social media organic, pretty much all of them. We do cold outreach, emails and phone. We do ACO. We are working on UGC platform to index ourselves on LLMs. We do some partnership. It's something actually we need to focus more. It's the goal of this year. We do conferences. So yeah, we're active pretty much everywhere.
So let's run with the narrative of partnerships. It's something that I'm quite interested in. So you're looking to build out your partner pathways. I mean, what, in your view and in the company's view, I suppose, what makes a partner relationship genuinely effective versus just someone or some entity that's just merely active?
So it's a tough question in the sense that I believe personally that the best way, so we have to differentiate between kind of partners. There are partners that means agencies. There are partners that means, I mean, for us, that means tech partners. So other Shopify apps, for example, and partners that can be, creators and, influencers and stuff like that. So each one of them has different potential. And we have we have a different strategy that we need to implement properly. We are already working with the three of them, but not in a structured way. And that's what we're going to do now. So when it comes to agencies, what we found difficult there is that our price point is quite low compared to some enterprise software they prefer to deal with. So whatever we can offer, economically speaking, is not exciting for them compared to selling like some enterprise software for 300K per year or something like that. So that's something that on the economical aspect we cannot really compete, but it works well when their clients are asking for something and then they're researching and they're finding our solution, because regardless of what we can pay them, they love to promote good solutions that work well and that will not impact negatively the client. So at the moment, we don't really have an outbound strategy there. It's more like inbound agencies coming to us. When it comes to tech partners, I believe the best way would be through integrations. But our tech team at the moment is not there, meaning we still have lots of core things that we want to build to make our product excellent. So the kind of partnership we are making is co-marketing activities, very low touch, can be backlinks, can be partner section, stuff like that. That's why it's not I mean, it's effective on certain apps. It's not on the majority. Most of this kind of partnership either takes 5 minutes to organize and handle, or we don't engage with them because the results and the return is pretty low. While creators, it's interesting because they have a big audience. I mean, depends on which one you target, of course, and that trust them. But for us, it will not to be a direct response channel compared to other, products or services you might sell, where you run an influencer campaign and then you get instant results, and then you can analyze that under a direct response kind of perspective. For us, it's more a long-term game. It's like you show up on 3, 4, 5, 10 different creators, and then people start to notice you are there. And then as soon as they want a chat or they want to investigate the conversational channel, you are the top of mind and they join you. So I have to shift a little bit the mindset there compared to the test we did before.
If we have a look at the sort of change management and digital transformation side of the impact that you're having in your merchants' businesses, I mean, so when a merchant adopts your conversational AI and your agentic AI, I mean, what is the biggest sort of invisible change? I mean, you've mentioned the tangible change, the impact on sales, but what are you hearing from a marketing perspective around that sort of invisible change that your merchants are experiencing when they deploy and implement your services?
I would say the biggest invisible change is that they learn more about their clients. So what Zipchat is very good at doing is getting lots of info from the conversations and elaborate this information to give you business and actionable insights that you can apply to marketing, to product, to sales, to pretty much every department of your business. So by handling ideally thousands or tens of thousands of conversations on your behalf and collecting all these micro data that for a human would be impossible to notice, you can literally define what's going to be your next product, or you're going to add to your offering, or how your pricing can be adaptive depending on the country or the period, understanding new marketing angles based on the question they're asking. So it can really improve how you run the brand and the business as a whole.
From a market and competition perspective, I mean, this is maybe a little bit of a loaded question because you have said, and I agree with you, that the market is ever shifting, expectations are changing rapidly, and that product market fit needs to be very agile. But what shift are you seeing that is creating the most pressure right now? Platform changes, CX expectations, speed of new entrants, perhaps. Like where's the pressure coming from?
Laziness. I believe we are getting very lazy when it comes to using software. If I have to remember, like 5 years ago, even like last year, every month is getting more to that direction, in my opinion. But if you think like drastically, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, you had this software with so many settings, so many sections, so many things to do inside the software that you literally needed to study, watch thousands of tutorial and do stuff. But it was fine because you could implement a software in 6 months time, because nobody really pressure you that otherwise your business would go off market. But if you think about it now, with ChatGPT, with Perplexity, with Claude, you basically have access to any kind of use case or information that you want just by typing something, and you don't need to use other feature. You don't have to click on too many settings in ChatGPT or Perplexity, blah blah blah. So I think software needs to go in that direction as well, and any software, included ours, that have settings, things to think about and select, kinda become a problem for themselves, because customers are used to be fast. If you think a Lovable is one of my favorite products ever built, to be honest. I mean, they ship new features every week. As a user, you don't realize it, because each of these features makes your product better, and you just chat with it, and then everything is done. And the quality of the output is ever increasing. So I believe the direction of Zipchat must be something like that, where you can set it up just by chatting with it and make it super fast at setting everything, so you don't have to think how to set it up. So I think the competition will come from that direction, and it's something that put us in competition with ChatGPT or with Lovable, even if we are completely different product category, but not for the product itself, but for the way you engage and you use the product. So if you're not aligned with how people will expect to use products, you will be out of the market. That's my opinion.
Leaning into the idea of, it's essentially the human in the loop, because really, like AI, the output is very much dependent on the input, and the input comes from the human. I think there's running with the whole sort of laziness narrative as well, is large language models came on the scene, for example, and it was amazing. You could ask it a question, you could ask it to do research, and it would spit out very impressive documents, pieces of information that on the surface looked amazing. But once you started to drill into some of the details, that's when we mentioned it earlier, hallucinations would pop up, etc. So it's really important that what you're putting in and the guardrails you set are clear and remain updated. And I think that's where a lot of people are starting to fall short. So coming back to my question around that sort of human layer, I mean, is that something that you lean into as a company from a messaging perspective, perhaps like that marketing angle, but the conversations that your sales team are having, when it comes to implementation, like trying to avoid the laziness, as you say?
we try to remove the risk of laziness from the equation. So as you mentioned, garbage in, garbage out, we are trying to make sure it's impossible for you to put garbage in, because when you're starting, it's kind of already everything ready and set up, but already personalized for you. So you don't really need to think, oh, should I do this or this? But we kind of took the decision already based on all the information, data, and results we have from I mean our data, and just give you the ability to do something simple that for you is very simple, that will not drastically change or decrease the quality of the output, but just put a direction on it.
And look, if we take a step back and look at Zipchat as a whole, what would you say is working really well within the company right now?
I would say the team is working very well. We took some time for hiring the team. Um, Before I was very much against remote teams. I was like, okay, remote teams, they just like to wake up late and not have things done and stuff like that. So I've always in my previous companies always set up an office, maybe two different locations, and people must go there. Okay, sometimes they can work from home. Of course, flexibility was key already a few years ago, but having everybody in the same room for me was needed. Right now, with Zipchat, we are demonstrating ourselves, because of course the world already know that remote team can work really well together, and everybody is just very accountable with what they have to achieve and what they have to do. Communication is straight. We don't lose time with so many meetings. We don't have so many all ends meeting or stuff like that, because we believe it's kind of a waste of time if the team is already aligned and everybody working towards the same direction.
On the flip side of my question, Luca, what within the company is not working well right now? Where are the frictions? Where are the bottlenecks? Where is more attention required?
So I would say customer acquisition in general, because the ever shifting market and condition is where the focus is most of the time. And we want to create a product that has a market. So understanding the market is clearly the most important thing to create that product. We don't want to create a product just because it's cool to create and then nobody cares. So
Mm.
I would say the focus of all the team is always on that, and we always start from the idea that it's not working. So, and that tomorrow will work even worse. So it's always focusing on improving it, understanding how to be more efficient, make the different channel we mentioned earlier work better, control the CAC we have. All the metrics are very important for us. I cannot say it's not working, but it's what we pretend not to be working every single day in order to not have surprises, let's say.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So if you look ahead, let's say 12 to 18 months into the future, what are you as a company focusing on in improving? Is it outcomes? Is it reliability, distribution, maybe customer acquisition, a new market that you're looking to enter, or is it something else? What's the driving objectives over the next couple of months?
Recently, we've been discussing a lot internally about the product, because there was something, a very cool book from Peter Thiel, Zero to One, where he was explaining. I mean, it's a whole book at this point, but he was explaining that you can have, an amazing product, but very bad distribution that will not go anywhere, and you can have amazing marketing and very bad product, and you can go somewhere and then somehow build. Which I believe from some kind of extent it's still true, especially on the distribution side. You see all these influencers launching something, and they go 0 to 100 very fast. But then that's the problem. Before, people to realize the product was bad would take maybe a couple of years. Now the customers, they understand the product is bad within 1 second. So yes, you can distribute well, you can make that initial sale, but the initial sale, especially in software, SMB software, I mean, it's not gonna make you a unicorn. It's gonna make some money, but not even enough to pay all the bills. So it's not the game you have to play. So I believe now you have to be an amazing distribution and an incredibly good product, because the product, if it's not good, it's gonna die anyway very, very soon. And the way to realize it's a good product is that the word of mouth accounts for a significant percentage of the people that are joining the company. I mean, the clients that are joining the company, or the leads, the inbound leads coming every day. So that's our main focus. We want and we need to double or triple our word of mouth clients. And the only way to do that is by making a product that is 5-10 times better than it is right now. So the output, but not only that, is how the people perceive us. We were born as a chatbot, AI chatbot. We want to become their full suite when it comes to talking to their customers. So we don't want them to have us plus, an help desk plus this. No, it's going to be us at 360. So we need to be able to have this kind of product.
If you look back at the journey to date with Zipchat, what is one lesson that you know now that you wish you knew on day one?
Be faster in implementing channels. We've always been thinking, we launched as a web chat, and then we started to think, okay, should we add or not WhatsApp? Will somebody use it? Will be demand for it? And then we take months and months, and we see somebody else doing and working, and then we are like, yeah, so we should do it. Same for potentially the channels we are implementing now. So I believe that customer right now, they want comprehensive products, and they don't want to have hyper specific products. So I believe in today's market, building a Calendly to be a unicorn company, just as a calendar scheduler, it would be very, very hard. People would need to have the CRM, the actual calendar software, and everything. If you think about all CRM right now, they implemented their calendar software, the calendar function feature. It's a very simple one, but it took probably years to implement because technology was advancing at a slower pace. And now Calendly, of course, is the huge company it is right now, and nobody will kill them probably. But on today market is different. Customers, they don't want to use multiple software. Building software is actually simple and fast. So you need to give them everything connected to your product. And for us, it's channels. Nobody will only conversate with their clients only through a website chat, but they're going to have Instagram, Messenger, TikTok Shop, because they sell on multiple channels. So we need to be there. So I would have go omnichannel much faster than we actually did.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, Luca, hindsight is best sight. If our listeners and viewers want to reach out to you, to the broader team at Zipchat, where is the best place for them to connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Luca Borreani. I'm trying also to post and be a little bit more frequent on Twitter, x.com. So again, Luca Borreani, you can find me there, but I'm more active on LinkedIn. And if you want to try Zipchat, you have like 7-day free trials. You can use coupon code podcast10. So you can have like a 10% lifetime discount on any subscription. And then on top of this, you have 30 days no question asked money back guarantee in case you don't like the AI, you don't like the software, you don't like the team, your success manager is not polite to you. That's, I'm just kidding. But anything that you don't like, you just ask a refund, and then within the first 30 days. So basically 37-day risk free.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for joining us on the Aegance Offscript podcast today, Luca. It really has been a fascinating conversation and a dive into Zipchat in general as a company, from its early days to exploring the growth trajectory to date, and then having a look at some of the market pressures that are influencing the future of the company as well. So thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, for having me.
And that's it for today's episode of the Aegance Offscript podcast. If this conversation sparked something, a thought, a question, or a new way of seeing your own business, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.